On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks play their first preseason game. The score doesn't matter. What did we learn from this game? Dereck Lively and Omax make their preseason debuts with the big group. We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavs Preseason.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section. Give me your Mavs overreactions to preseason game 1. Give them to me. Tell me what you think. Luka, not going to win MVP. Kyrie, trash. Omax, trash. Lively, trash. Let me know. All the overreactions on Twitter are hilarious to me. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The overreaction oligarch, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
And I'm so excited to share everything I learned from this game. I'm just going to start off the top. The number one thing that I'm walking away with it from this game with. Steve Harvey. Front row.
Showing some chest. Showing some clavicle.
Chest, showing some skin there. And it's like Steve Harvey making the trip to Abu Dhabi.
Him and his mustache made it.
Yeah, just.
Do you have to pay for both if you pay for a Steve Harvey appearance? Do you have to pay for him and then you pay for the mustache separately?
We can honestly do a segment of like, who would you want on the Mavs for Family Feud? And but
I think I would want Dwight. I think I would want I would want Grant for sure. Grant, I think would be good.
Oh yeah, well, Grant and Dwight Powell are locks.
They're locks already for it. All right, on today's show, we're going to talk about the Mavs preseason game against the Timberwolves. The first game in Abu Dhabi. It was played sometime this afternoon, very early, like 11 a.m. Central Time. We got to see the rookies with Dereck Lively and Omax, starting with the big group, and so we'll give our reactions, our first impressions to them. Jaden Hardy had a great game in this one. We'll talk about him and what he's shown. Josh Green, and we'll give our thoughts on pretty much every player that is going to be in the Mavericks rotation on this one. But let's start here. So we get the first impression of Dereck Lively and Omax Prosper. Let's do Dereck Lively first. With the starters, the Mavericks didn't start out great. They were down 37-19 in the first quarter. It ended up being like a 25-point deficit at some point. The Mavericks offense, defense just kind of looked all jumbled all over the place. But what did you take away from what Dereck Lively showed with the starters?
I actually really liked what I saw from Lively in this game. I mean, you have to – they're rookies, all right? So we're not, even – like even the best of the best rookies are not going to come in and just like, unless they're the Luka Doncic, LeBron James of the world. And, that could like skew some like how we feel about rookies sometimes, but there's nothing that either one of them did in one preseason game that I'm making some big like conclusion from. But honestly, I liked a lot of what I seen from Lively. My biggest thing for him was, he's going up against his first NBA action outside of the summer league. He's going up against a monster of a front court. Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, 3-time defensive player of the year. And do you hear that air conditioning in the background?
Oh yeah. It's like a strong wind just gushed behind you.
All right. So let me finish this take. And then once Nick starts talking, I'll go turn this thing off as I'm still visiting.
It's not that bad. It's okay.
But, my biggest thing was, will he look out of place? Like, will he look like so much like a kid or so much like a stick out there that it's like, dude, he's just going to get like manhandled and he just won't be able to like do anything. And it wasn't that way for me. Like, I thought I've seen some people trying to say like, hey, Dwight's better than Dereck Lively right now. I'm really not there for that take. I feel just as like confident of saying like, yeah, he should be starting right now after seeing that. Like, he banged down low, he got some boards, he got that, oop from Luka. That's going to happen more whenever you're not playing a Rudy Gobert. And so I loved his energy. He's going to pick up fouls. He had 4 in the first half. That's part of it. That's honestly one of the things I said when I was like, hey, start him. And if he gets in foul trouble, you'll go ahead and just put Dwight or Rashawn Holmes in. So I liked what I saw from Dereck Lively today.
I did too. I thought that he was in the right position a lot of times. I thought that his 4 fouls, if you're going to point to something, Dereck Lively is going to be in foul trouble a lot. Yes, rookie centers are in foul trouble, and Dereck Lively is a defensive center that's going to go for blocks. He's going to go for steals. He's going to take some chances. He's going to set screens, and when you set screens as a big man in the NBA, you're going to commit some fouls. But the 4 fouls that he got, I thought a couple of them were they called him really tight too. I didn't think that some of those, I just thought there were some good contests from him. But even
I think you're going to get that when you're a rookie. You're not really going to get the benefit of the call sometimes. So he's going to struggle with that for a while.
Yeah, right. And so there's just some psychology with refs in that too. But I thought he played well. He had 2 points. He had the 1 dunk from Luka, five rebounds in that one. And I thought he had some good moments where you're like a different center or like a Dwight or a Max. He doesn't get that rebound against Rudy Gobert in a different scenario. And so I thought, and that's one of the things the Mavericks really wanted to focus on this offseason is finishing the play, getting the rebound. Rebounds matter to this team. And with Dereck Lively, you can get those rebounds because he's 7'1", 7'7" wingspan. The moment where he had the alley-oop from Luka, the end of the second quarter, there was 2 possessions in a row. And I think this is the one you go back to, at least on offense, for what Dereck Lively is going to bring to this team. And that if he's doing this already, I think it's just going to grow more and more with him and Luka. Luka and him ran, double drag, meaning that Grant Williams set a screen for Luka first, then Dereck Lively comes and sets another screen for Luka. And then the first one, Rudy Gobert was he walked up to Luka and he decided to guard Luka, and Dereck Lively went up for the dunk. Dereck Lively can catch anything, man. Like you can throw up to him and catch anything.
It's like when we had Willie, that was the biggest thing with Willie is like, dude, his catch radius is insane. It's like it's really kind of reminds me of that with Dereck Lively. Just toss it up there, he's gonna catch it.
Or DeAndre Jordan back in the day, like just felt like you could just throw it anywhere. And then so that
Tyson Chandler, I don't know if you've heard that comp.
Dude, I don't know if enough people are comparing Dereck Lively to Tyson Chandler. Like that's a nice one. That's really good. That's a good pull from you.
We've seen it, and I think we were the only ones to talk about it.
So he had the one where Luka throws the alley-oop to him after the double drag. Again, the same play, the next one, and Gobert commits to Dereck Lively instead this time, and Luka just gets a wide open layup against a 3-time defensive player of the year. Yeah. And those 2 plays, you're like, okay, if they figure that out, they can do that more. They'll figure out the spacing. Like, it'll be better. The Mavericks will hit some threes for once, and they won't be playing against this huge long team in the Timberwolves with Gobert, Cat as another 7-footer at the 4, Jaden McDaniels, who some people say grew like 2 or 3 inches over the summer and is like 6'11" now. Like it's just a long team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a long guy. Like it was just a hard team to play and to space out. And the Mavericks spacing was bad. Their offense was bad. All that. But those 2 plays to me, at least with Lively, showed me, okay, if we're building on this. That's a really good spot to build from.
Yeah, everything. I thought I was really watching his screens. I thought he set pretty good screens. Yeah. I thought Luka and Kyrie both did a pretty good job too of waiting on him to set the screens and getting him in the right position and right angles of pulling their defender, into him and stuff. So, he's going to make mistakes beyond the first preseason game and into the season and all that. Like that's part of it. But for his first game, man, I was impressed.
Omax, on the other hand, to me looked really rushed. I thought everything he did looked rushed. On offense, he got the ball and he fell out of bounds on one play in the second quarter. He just fell down. He may have gotten fouled in that one. Again, not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Defensively, I thought he overcommitted on everything. When a guy gets the ball and he's running out to close out to contest the shot, he ran too far, he jumped too far. Everything to me was too fast, too rushed, everything around. And that'll just calm down. I don't even think we can evaluate what we saw from Omax in this game because it just felt all too rushed, too big. Everything was just a little too much, too fast for Omax.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, once again, there's not really much I learned from this game. All right, so it's a matter of all right, he's a rookie. He looked like Josh. There's a reason why we both said, hey, to Grant's question to us, what's the perfect starting lineup? Yeah. We both said Josh Green.
Yeah.
Instead of Omax. I love Omax. I think he's gonna have a good impact on this team this year. but it's going to take time too. Like it's part of it. The offensive side, I'm not worried about his defense. Yeah, he closed out too hard sometimes. Sometimes he's too flat-footed on some things, which that's been my issue kind of with Josh, with some of the quicker guys at some time. And I think he's gotten better at that, of staying up on his toes and stuff. But there's some angles and stuff. He just got off balance. He seemed off balance a lot.
Yeah.
But once again, there's nothing that I'm watching of Omax saying, dude, he can't play. Like, he can play, and it's going to take time. He's going to make mistakes, and there you go.
Coming up, let's talk about what we saw from Luka, Jaden Hardy, Josh Green, all the others in this game that stood out. We'll talk about them coming up. But before we do that, let me, by myself, without Isaac, he has left, talk to you about FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has you covered with all kinds of odds and lines. We just talked about Dereck Lively. Said he looked pretty good. If he and Luka get some chemistry, figures that out on defense, the Mavericks win some games. I don't know, maybe far outside shot at Rookie of the Year if Wembanyama and Scoot don't pan out. Chet maybe. There's, he could have outside shot. FanDuel has him at plus 15,000. You put down $10 on Dereck Lively to win Rookie of the Year, and he wins it. You win $1,500. If you put down $100, you win $15,000 on that. That is a outside chance on that one. So go check it out on FanDuel. You can right now, if you bet $5, so you bet $5 on Dereck Lively to win Rookie of the Year, you can get $200 in bonus bets to either double down on that one or put wherever you want. Get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon as we kick off the NBA season. NFL season continues on. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon.
Yo, you see Apple Jacks?
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. If you want to support the show, text us. Get text alerts from us on Mavs Rumors. We send our game day update. We send injuries. We'll send where to watch the game. We'll send what time. We'll send things to watch for. Every game, I'll send those. Subscribe to our subtext. Click the link in the description. Text the number on the screen coming up here in a little bit. All right, Isaac, let's talk more about this game. To me, we can talk about Luka. We've talked about Luka all offseason with FIBA and everything. Luka was being Luka in this game. Scored 25 points. He had like 12 of their first 17 points. He was kind of the only thing on offense that was working in this one. And but yeah, he had that chemistry with Lively, and that's what you want to see early.
Sorry.
I was like, so where'd he go?
Have a mic muted there. Let me continue. Felt a little all-star game-ish.
Preseason for Locked On Mavs too.
Yeah. Never, it's our first time doing a pod together. For Luka, and honestly for some of them, it did feel a little all-star game. It's in Abu Dhabi. There's, Kareem was there. Like they brought out some legends. Steve Harvey, Michael B. Jordan.
They showed two people on the sidelines that I didn't know that honestly had haircuts that looked like it came from the Hunger Games. Like it was as if they took them right out of the Hunger Games and plopped them right on the court.
Well, so I say like, I'm not making excuses for it, but it felt at times that there was a little like, hey, let's like put on a show type of thing. Some of the Luka shots early, some contested shots, the off balance like leg stuff. It's like, hey, it's cool. Like it's fun. Like we're having fun with this thing. So yeah, Luka, once he gets in his bag, there's nobody has an offensive bag really like Luka outside of a few people in the league, but he cracks me up when he gets a switch with Rudy Gobert.
Always,
and
every time.
He's like, let me back up. I got to take advantage of this.
If you haven't heard our interview with Spencer Dinwiddie from last media day, like not this one, but the year before, where we asked him like, what's annoying about Luka? He says he'll always go at the player that is better at guarding him than like trying to take the mismatch. And we knew right away that story he told us was about Rudy Gobert, and it just continues every time. He loves that matchup.
Can I say this real quick too? If somebody's listening to this and they're like super passionate and they have some like super hot takes about this first preseason game, and they're like, dude, why are you dudes just being so dismissive and everything? Let me read you something. So in 2020,
this was the #1 post on Mavs Reddit today.
After the Josh Richardson, Seth Curry trade, all right, Josh Richardson played in 3 preseason games, all right, for the Mavericks. He averaged a little over 24 minutes a game in those 3 games. He had 15 points a game. He shot 62% from the field, 15 of 24, and 73%. He had 11 of 15 threes in the preseason. Dude balled out, and then he sucked. So it just goes to show you that it just doesn't tell you everything. Omax could have came out day one and just locked down somebody and hit 5 threes and still really struggle for the first few weeks of the season. And that was one thing I was really bummed with. We didn't get to see Omax on Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
And Anthony Edwards obviously didn't play in this game. But anyway, I was wanting to see him chase around him and see how he defended him and stuff. But
yeah, so we didn't get to see that. We saw Luka, though, lead everybody in points with 25. Kyrie only played 14 minutes, was 1 of 6 from the field. Didn't seem like he was super aggressive in this one. He does try to
we want Kyrie.
And he played off the ball a little bit more than we've seen him in the past. So again, it just like Luka, it felt like he was not really pushing too hard in this one. The thing,
how many times has Luka been on a team in which he had a teammate that the crowd was chanting to see over Luka? Boban?
Yes.
Dirk?
For sure.
Probably
Moses Brown.
Somebody at Madrid.
Mike
but
Toby.
I think for me, that was a small moment too for people who might question the popularity of Kyrie Irving, that we're playing in these games in Abu Dhabi, and all of a sudden, I mean, the whole arena, you can hear it through the broadcast, is chanting, "We want Kyrie." It's like, shows you once again how popular he is.
If we're gonna have any takeaways from this one, Jaden Hardy, man, he's coming. Like he's coming, and we knew this from the end of last year. But I thought Jaden Hardy played. I thought he was the second best Maverick after Luka in this one. He finished the game with 13 points. He had 3 assists. He had a steal. I thought he just did so well, and it was the things that the Mavericks asked him to do this offseason. Get better on the ball. Get better as like a pick and roll ball handler. Get better with the ball in your hands. And in Summer League, we weren't really super impressed with what he did, but in this game, he was navigating stuff. He had a pick and roll with Dwight Powell where he hit him for a dunk, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's not just shooting off of the pick and roll. He's also getting assists and setting other guys up, and I thought he was just great.
Super impressed with Jaden Hardy. And it kind of goes to the, hey, having hot takes coming off of a preseason game. Same thing with Summer League. It's like you watch his performance in Summer League and what they were asking of him and stuff. Like you said, we weren't really impressed, and he wasn't impressed either. Like he wasn't happy with how he performed at Summer League. And if you just kind of wrote him off after that and it's like, yeah, doesn't have it anymore, then you watch this game and you're like, well, crap, like it's a different player. He seemed more confident. He seemed more, I mean, coming off the screens and hitting some of those guys in the corner, some of those passes he was making, and then the mid-range pull-up shot. I love the mid-range, it was and one, Kyrie stands up. He's hyping him up from the bench and stuff. He just looked like, he looked like a whole different player to me out there than he did in the Summer League. And that's where it gets really interesting, because one of the things on yesterday's podcast I said I was looking for was the rotations. And you look at some of those first guys off the bench. Dwight Powell's the first guy, but even looking at Seth Curry comes in, Josh Green comes in. You're looking at that second unit when Luka plays the entire first, and I was all excited because I'm like, all right, who's going to start the second quarter with Kyrie? I want to see these non-Luka minutes, see if they push the pace and all that stuff. And it was Kyrie, Seth Curry, Josh Green, Maxey, and Lively. No Jaden Hardy. And Hardy didn't check in until 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, so he at least still got in. At first, I was like, is he really just not going to play until the second half? But man, when he got in, he was all in, and I thought he played really good basketball. So I was super happy for him.
Yeah, and if you're going to try to, again, we're poo-pooing another thing. If you're going to try to take away, like, oh, what are the rotations? Do we know? Reminder that Jason Kidd is starting Lively and Omax because he wants to see what they look like next to these starters. He's got some minutes and some data on Josh Green, on Jaden Hardy, on some of these other guys with the starters, but he doesn't have any on Lively and Omax. So he's trying them out. So it could all be completely different when the season actually starts at that point. But yeah,
like if they start one of these preseason games and it's Dwight and Josh instead of Omax and Lively, like I wouldn't be shocked, No. Like I could see him doing that.
With Hardy though, I saw our friend Kirk tweet, like, I don't know what Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to do on this team with Tim, Seth, and Hardy. And like we've been asking that all summer. But if Hardy is going to look like this and he's going to play well in the pick and roll, he's going to be able to handle the ball, and he's going to be a go-to scorer for them, man, that's a weird trio to try and figure out still.
Well, he's got to get healthy from his hamstring injury. And that's
little tightness.
That's the first thing for him. But I mean, there's a reason. I don't think it's like we all know that they've shopped Tim, and Tim knows it. So portion of that is because of his contract, and they need the money to match another contract. But also we've talked about it's like you have his replacement sitting there in the wing in Jaden Hardy. So yeah, I mean yes. There you go.
It's going to be a hard one to figure out, and I'm rooting for Hardy out of all of them because I love watching him play, and I love watching him score, and just how happy he gets and how happy the bench gets too. Coming up, let's go through the rest of the team. Grant Williams, Rashawn Holmes. Did we see anything from him? We'll talk about some of the other guys that we saw in this game coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Bird Dogs. Their shorts fit way better than regular shorts. You're just going to go buy a pair of shorts. The difference between the fit with those shorts and a fit with Bird Dog shorts, so different. It's like a regular season game and a preseason game. You got to step up your game when it comes to what you wear, and Bird Dogs can help you do that. They have this anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. They're functional for any occasion. Here are the occasions they list that you can wear Bird Dogs with: golf, date, evening, pool, workout, lounging, work, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff you can wear Bird Dogs on. They have joggers as well. Those are looking pretty good. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or enter the promo code LockedOnNBA at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. Go get it now. birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA. We've got Bird Dogs. We wear them all the time. Love them. Go check it out. Again, birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA.
It's great. It's great, dude. Dude, it's great. It's great. It's great, broski. Bro, name it. It's great. It's great. It's great, bro. It's great. It's great. It's great.
All right, Isaac, let's talk about what else we saw in this game. Preseason game 1, Dallas Mavericks, Minnesota Timberwolves. The score, by the way, was 111-99. Not that the score mattered in this preseason game.
Did you care about the second half?
The score, like when they got it within 5, when, what was it, AJ Lawson hit that 3, I was like, oh, okay, maybe they can come back and win this one.
I took the majority of my notes from the first half because that was when the main players, main rotation. I took individual notes in the second half more, but in the first half, like, I think that's the story. If you want to analyze something, analyze the first half, even though it's just 24 minutes of basketball. But if you're wondering, like, dude, why did we suck so bad? It's like, they were 6 of 23 in the first half.
Yeah.
Like you look at before we hit record, I was on Synergy.
3.
I was looking up, from 3. I was looking up Grant Williams 3-point numbers because this dude is going to get about 2 million open 3-pointers this season. All right. And give or take, a little bit, probably rounding up a little bit, but he shot him, 40% from 3 last year. He had 7 3-point attempts just in the first half today. And it's like, and I mean, it felt like a decent amount of them were open. He hit two threes in a row there. I just think he's going to, I think when you look at, I was looking at who attempted the most 3-pointers last year. And a lot of them are off the dribble guys. It's, the Stephs and Trays and all those guys, Damian Lillard's. But then when you start looking at the spot up guys that are not creating for themselves, that's attempting the most threes, you're looking at like the Buddy Hields of the world. I think one of my predictions this year is going to be Grant Williams is going to be in like the top 15 of like 3-point attempts. That he's going to attempt like 7, 8, 9 threes a game because he's just going to get open threes all day long. So I don't know. That was just one of my small little things. It was just a reminder of like, oh crap, it's kind of nice. Even though he only hit 2 of them, it's kind of nice having a guy out there that I feel like the shot's going to go down when he takes it.
Well, he's very confident. He told us at Media Day that he thinks he's the second best shooter on this team after Tim Hardaway. So, yeah, he's going to get those. He's going to hit those, right? He hit 2, and they were 2 in a row. That goes back to the offense looked bad because the rhythm was bad. They just were completely out of rhythm. They worked a ton on defense in training camp, but even so, like I saw some people, even on the broadcast, they're like, they just did this super long flight over to Abu Dhabi. I was like, well, so did the Timberwolves. Like we can't really use that as an excuse. They were out.
They just hung out in the desert.
They were out in the desert the night before. Yeah, so were the Timberwolves doing the exact same thing. Were they on camels? Were they playing Xbox? Yeah, that's the same thing the Timberwolves did the day before. But yeah, he's gonna hit so many of those shots, man, and he's a good shooter. He hit 7 threes in a game 7. Like that's a huge thing that the Mavericks needed somebody like that. Those threes will go down.
Yeah, and it felt like there was an increased confidence or increased motivation of, hey, if y'all get a slimmer of a 3, take it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, because there were more than a couple contested threes. Omax, Luka, Kyrie had 1 or 2 there. Obviously, Grant did that. It was like Josh did. It's like you're open a little bit. Just go ahead and take the 3. Let's just get it out of our system and launch it. And they're 6 of 23, so they're gonna shoot better from 3. And 1 fast break point in the whole first half.
Normal.
Selfishly, I would love to see more, especially in the non-Luka lineups. But it's kind of how Mavericks play, It's
par for the course from last year. Yeah, we haven't seen that. But they didn't get a lot of stops. I mean, even the first half, Timberwolves were shooting like 50%. They shot 9 of 20 from 3, so almost 50% on those. Like they were hitting a ton of shots too. So if you don't get stops,
assists for Minnesota in the first half.
Yeah, if you don't get stops, then you don't get fast break points either. So Grant Williams, saw good things from him. The threes will go down eventually, and that will completely change what the Mavericks, how the Mavericks play. And Josh Green, though, is another one I want to talk about. I thought Josh Green had some really good moments in this one. He came off the bench, came in, and he had 3 assists. He scored 6 points. Didn't hit a 3, but still had a pull-up jumper that we saw a little bit in FIBA. We saw a little bit towards the end of the year, but Josh Green working on the ball. That's some of the stuff he's been working on this summer. And I think he's ready to be the starter.
Yeah, I do too. I thought he played. The confidence looked like it was there today. It looked more fluid with the ball. And I mean, that one pass he had to Dwight under the goal was him. It's his classic jump passes that he makes them work, but sometimes they don't. But he jumped up in the air and it was wild. But he played good.
He gets a handoff from Dwight, and both defenders stick with him. And I think it was Naz Reid that stuck with Josh and just played him straight up, like arms in the air. And Josh Green jumps in the air, almost tries to throw the ball over Naz Reid, and then realizes he can't because Naz Reid is a giant human. And then he double pumps twice, and then leans around and throws it right to Dwight in the paint, like just a pass that only Josh Green can make because of the way he can jump. That one really stood out to me as just they need somebody else to make that offense flow and move around, and he's the oil to the offense. He had another great pass to Dante Exum in the third quarter when Dante hit a 3. Those two working together, the Aussies, is going to be great. But yeah, I liked what I saw from Josh in this game.
I like the Josh and Hardy combo. I thought they played well alongside each other. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I want to see some of these combos of how they play, well together. And what was a couple of years ago, there's some awesome numbers with Maxey and Dwight playing together off the bench and kind of that big man combo there. Can that be a guard combo that they can kind of figure out, the Hardy and Josh Green, if Josh doesn't start, that they play? So I don't know. That's what the preseason's for.
Rashawn Holmes, we didn't see him until the third quarter, right?
Yeah, he had some moments. Had a little push shot. I loved his energy on defense, and
you can just tell his wingspan, man. That affects shots. That affects passes. That affects guys being able to get passes around him. I think he's gonna play some. Like they have to figure out Lively, Powell, Rashawn Holmes, like that trio. Are they just all gonna play around the same number of minutes? Like, are they just all gonna? Each one plays 15 minutes, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally have him playing over Dwight probably, but I'm not really basing that off one preseason game either.
Well, we've been saying that all summer, so we're not basing it off of. We have there. You go check the tape.
Yeah, so I would have, obviously I want Lively to start and then Holmes and Dwight, but I liked, the small stuff I've seen from him.
He wasn't playing against the starters for the most part. He was playing against Naz Reid a little bit, who is, a player that will play in the rotation for the Timberwolves, but he was playing against backups and backups of backups at times. But
Naz would have been a good Mav, by the way.
Well, they tried. They tried to go after him. But
Mavs liked him, yeah.
They didn't get, if they got him, then they wouldn't have gotten Grant Williams, I don't think. But we'll see. So, anybody else stand out to you?
Jelly
Walker hit a couple of threes. Love to see some Jelly.
Yeah, Jelly's fun. I don't think I have any other big notes. I mean, he didn't get a ton of Seth. So
Isaac is like, this game was garbage and nothing matters.
No, I just don't, I kind of view preseason as just kind of like it's just the fun glorified scrimmages, like I'm not learning a ton. I'm not.
It's the fan jam of Mavs basketball.
Yeah, it's like the play-in tournament of fan jams. And
Isaac hates the play-in tournament. It's his worst take.
I mean, I hate the fan jam more. No.
No, you do. You definitely do. Which we didn't get this year, by the way.
That's true. But no, it's fun just seeing the guys. I think we've seen Lively and Omax play in the summer league, but we haven't got to see Luka play with Lively or Luka and Kyrie play with Omax and stuff like that. So I think I'm excited to see. Here's my thing. I am way more excited that Jason Kidd is playing them like he is right now instead of having them buried on the bench. Yeah. I would much rather them start off and looking kind of like deer in the headlights and let's figure it out, and them trying to figure it out right now instead of, dude, they were buried from preseason day one and they just can't, they're getting no reps. They're not figuring it out and all of this stuff. I am much happier with how this is starting off right now, considering the alternative.
I would wanted them to do that with Jaden Hardy last year, and then they decided to slow roll it and play him in the G League, and he dominated the G League, and then they brought him up, and I think it ended up being the right choice probably in the end. But yeah, Dante Exum, he had 5 points. He had 3 boards, 3 assists. He looked like he can calm the storm when guys come in. Yeah. He's experienced with the ball. So yeah,
he looked bigger on the court too. This is a reminder just how big he is. I was like, is that Josh? I'm like, no, that's Dante Exum.
There you go. Let us know what your overreactions were to game 1 of preseason in the comment section. We'll be back tomorrow with more stuff, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.